Hey world, continuing with X's story. Summary recap of the last one was that the incident that X was dealing with a VIP call, and the issue was that the VIP couldn't connect from home, and X got reprimanded the next day about how it was X's action was unacceptable, that X had a lot of resources at the facilities that X could have used to deal and approach the issue. So this was more of a judgment call, and that X would be contacted by a representative lead to supposedly discipline X. Now, X would like to share that prior to this, months back, there was an email sent out to the team from one of the representative leads stating that not every single call from a VIP is super urgent, or the priority is then and there and really high. Examples would be not being able to connect to the computer, logging on, a password issue. Those wouldn't necessarily be urgent. Now, if somehow VIP of a facility of, let's say, maybe the healthcare industry is getting audited by state officials and they can't log on, or they have a server going down in production, yes, that would be urgent. So X was in that frame of mind when X was troubleshooting that particular ticket and issue. So that was what X was thinking. X still kept the priority as high, but with that, X's thoughts was that if X made a mistake, a wrong judgment call, then X apologizes for that and will learn from it moving forward. I mean, and the ticket, when X reviewed it, just showed that it was resolved the next day early morning, and basically that wasn't an issue. So X got reprimanded for that. Now, I will comment on that particular situation here. If I was in that particular situation, I have no doubt that X was the only one that's ever mistakenly miscategorized the priority of a VIP. And if so, what was the precedence for how that was happened? The same type of scolding? That scolding of, this is unacceptable, you have resources there, one of the representative lead will contact you to discuss this further. That tone to me sounds like X was being treated like some kind of redheaded disabled stepchild. That X was being scolded, and it's like, is that how every single VIP ticket that gets miscategorized gets treated? Or does it just happens to be X after X's prior incident? And it just seems like X was being scolded like X was to be executed on the chopping block. Now, if there's another interpretation to that, I would love for the viewers' opinions and thoughts on that. So then going onto the ticket of another incident, there happened to be an administrator of a facility that needed to get a workstation set up for a hospital. And basically, X believed that, well, if that's the case, then the workstation just needed administrative rights to be logged on to so that the right software can be installed so that they can connect. So X just thought that was just basically a ticket where X could basically just log on as the administrator and resolve that for the user. And with that, the ticket was pending the user because the user had to set up and contact another user at the hospital to coordinate the issue. So X kept the ticket in X's queue to follow up on. And X called the user every few days to not bother the client and to pester the client. And with that, keep in mind that X wants you to know that the queue that the team has is usually assigned out, and it's frowned upon when more tickets are added to the queue due to service level agreements. So they typically want you to keep the queue in your own queue. So with that in mind, X kept the ticket in X's queue. And it just so happens that X gets an email copied in on that the ticket that X was working on needed to be escalated over to one of the account managers' queue. As to why, X does not know. And see here. But basically, the point of that was that how was X supposed to know that that case was supposed to be escalated to an account manager when supposedly it seemed like to X that the only thing that it needed was administrative rights to install some application, and that's all that they needed. So X doesn't know why X was called out for that. But ironically, the next few weeks, the user that opened the call called back, and X happened to pick up that call and updated the information. And the user mentioned that they would contact the other person needed to proceed with the request. So in response to that, with me commentating on that part there, me as an outsider looking in, if someone told me that story, it just seems like X is being breathed down upon, and every single thing or incident or case is being nitpicked on for X. So X doesn't really understand that. And let's see here, 9 minutes. Well, guess I have to tell you some more of X's story in the next segment.